YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and we're going to take a look at another battle replay from one of my online matches, and this time I, as Rome, am going to take on Rome. And normally you see a lot of Rome on Rome matches, and I wanted to kind of, I don't know, have some fun here, so I brought 5 Sakyai Equites, 6 Gladiators, 6 Velites, an Elephant, and a Legatus. My opponent brought, I wouldn't say a traditional Roman army, but a more traditional Roman army with several units of kind of cohorts. I really honestly expected him to bring Evocati cohorts, which kind of scared me, so these elephants are really part of my strategy to deal with Evocati. And then Gladiators are fantastic. I mean, they have massive attack, but they're extremely vulnerable to missiles, and they're also somewhat vulnerable to cav charges. And not only that, when they charge a heavy infantry, because they're kind of in looser formation, sometimes they can get pummeled on the charge. So it's a risky army, but I backed it up with so many Velites that I could potentially make up for the difference. This is a crap load of Velites. And to be honest, you're going to start seeing a lot of armies online, I think, where people bring a lot of javelins, because javelins are hard to deal with. They really are. People can bring cheap infantry just to keep you from getting to the javelins, and the javelins will deal massive damage to any unit in your army. So a lot of times what you'll see is a Bactrian army, for instance, with a bunch of Bactrian Peltists, a couple of Indian armored elephants, and some cataphracts, and there's like nothing you can do, because the Bactrian Peltists will destroy your infantry. Your cav will get massacred by their elephants. I mean, it's tough to deal with. So over here, my opponent got too close to me with some Numidian cav. Numidian cav's such a cool unit, but it's so crappy. I wish they would patch it. And then he charges some Equites in here to try and scare me off, and then I just kind of get out of there and side charge him. So I've gotten a very favorable engagement. Here I pulled my Equites out of hiding, and I'm going to intercept his, and then I'm going to send this unit around his lines. And basically I've got my Velites set up. I put them on quick reload to try and get as many volleys as I could. Check out this Histati unit he's leading with. And this Sakyai Histati. Both of these units are just getting absolutely decimated. Not a very high value unit, but, you know, again, the kind of damage that these guys can cause quickly is pretty impressive. Got my Sakyai Equites coming out here to reinforce this fight. Looks like I've got a charge into the flank of this legionary cohort. Not sure why I did that. It'll get a few kills, but won't be all that helpful. Maybe just to pin that fight down. And then I just charged my elephants in because his men were not in any kind of cohesive formation and didn't have good missile support. So this is the kind of situation where elephants are going to do their best. And look at that, already over 200 kills, just sailing towards 250. When people use sword units against you, if they're not protecting them with skirmish units, by all means just slam your elephants into them. The bigger the blob, the better it is for the elephants. So, I mean, look at my guys here still just killing away. And he does have some auxiliary Syrian archers here firing at my gladiators, and they'll do alright versus that target. But look how quick I threw my gladiators into killing spree real quick. Almost no losses, and because of the elephants there, his whole army just absolutely chain routes. Look at his auxiliary infantry, the 104 men left fleeing. The gladiators can rack up kills fairly quick, but it was the scare effect from the elephants, stuff that just really laid that in. So pretty impressive there what those elephants were able to do. So these fights that were taking place on the flank are going to go advantageous for my opponent. And then back here, my general was kind of attacking his general, which had gone after some of my Velites, but most of my Velites survived alive. He did bring a unit of Sakyai Extraordinari over here, but I was able to gun them down with all my javelins before they were able to kill me. But when I was throwing javelins at them, some of them hit my own elephants. That's a problem. You got to be careful about friendly fire on your own elephants. These gladiators are pretty exhausted because I already used Killing Spree. I probably used it too early, but they're not going to have any problem cutting down these Sakyai Histati. It seems like they've improved the unit collisions quite a bit. They were pretty messy when this game first released. They're looking a little better. Still could be better yet. I just think the original Rome engine did better on unit collisions, but they're really getting better, I think, here. Kind of interesting. Some pretty sweet fighting, though, going on between all these troops. And then my elephants got into the flank of him, and at that point, I had pretty much defeated my opponent. That was really one of his only units left, so my little shock army worked here. It's pretty gimmicky, and it could get beat up pretty bad in the wrong scenario. Like, if he would have had elephants to go into my gladiators, oh goodness, that would have been over in seconds. But that's why I brought all these Velites. My idea was basically like, hey, I don't need any heavy infantry. If he brings elephants, I'll just swat him with all of my Velites quickly, or I can intercept them momentarily with my shot cav, which can kind of slow down elephants temporarily and allow you to throw more javelins. So I had a lot of shot cav to support my guys. So this army was pretty gimmicky, and it's honestly kind of flimsy, but in this case was able to do very well because my opponent, he didn't bring the sturdier infantry. He had a couple of these legionary cohorts which are fairly sturdy, but a lot of these units like Hastati and legionnaires and stuff like that, it's really just not worth it. And then these Triari, they're also a waste of money. It's hard to use Triari effectively because they're so expensive. A unit like Gladiator Spearmen or Auxiliary Infantry have the potential to be more useful. It's just interesting. I've tried to figure out where my opponent... I guess he just spent his money on tons of units. I'm not even sure he spent all his money, to be honest, because some of these units are so cheap. He may not have known how to spend all of his money. But maybe he did. I can't tell. It's hard to say. But in any case, hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll be back with more soon. HeirofCarthage signing off.